Good morning. This is Faith in Our Hometown, brought to you as a community service and sponsored by Mercy Hospital, Joplin. And now, here's your host, Father Jay Friedel.
Good morning, and welcome back to another Sunday morning of Faith in Our Hometown, our weekly discussion of issues of faith that affect us as people, the greater Joplin area. My guest this morning is going to be Jen Black, who's the Executive Director of the Alliance of Southwest Missouri. Not necessarily a faith-based organization, but certainly one that does a lot in terms of helping families and helping families to be prepared for whatever is going to come into their lives. And I think that we can all agree that as people of faith, the family is one of our basic building blocks, and we need our families to be strong, whether they're faith-based or not. We want all of our families to be strong so that our community is strong. And so, again, we're going to be back with Jen Black in just a few moments from the Alliance of Southwest Missouri. Thank you for joining us this morning. We're going to be right back after this Mercy Minute. Don't go away.
The different bariatric surgical options here at Mercy Joplin includes laparoscopic Roux-en-Y gastric bypass, laparoscopic sleeve gastrectomy, and laparoscopic lap band placement. In addition, we also offer revisional laparoscopic surgeries for those patients that have had previous bariatric procedures but have had failures. The surgical procedure of choice will vary with different individuals, and so that's why our team will work with the patient on an individual basis to determine which procedure is the best fit for them. All three of the bariatric procedures that we offer here at Mercy Joplin have a long track record of proven safety and efficacy. The best procedure for the individual has to be a decision to be decided between the patient and the physician.
So again, thanks for joining us for another Sunday morning of Faith in Our Hometown. As I mentioned earlier, my guest is Jen Black. Welcome, Jen.
Thank you.
Jen is the Executive Director of the Alliance of Southwest Missouri. So Jen, first tell us a little bit about yourself, and then tell us what is the Alliance of Southwest Missouri.
Well, I've been in Joplin for about 25 years. I've been in the nonprofit field working for about 20 of those years, and just enjoy serving our community and the people that live in them.
Great.
The Alliance of Southwest Missouri, we kind of do two main things. We serve families, and we try to protect and create safety for them. So,
okay, good.
We really focus on child abuse prevention, drug use prevention, fire safety, car seat safety, and a whole lot more.
So basically, it's all those rules that we want to tell our kids all the time. Look both ways, crossing the street. Don't play with matches. If you're on fire, stop, drop, and roll. All
Correct.
Those things.
Yes.
So you guys are about strengthening all that for all of our community and all of our families.
Correct.
Okay, so I know you've got several programs and you've got lots of different things that you all do. Why don't you tell us about some of those?
Okay. One of the unique things I think for the Alliance is we serve 4 counties, and a lot of people don't know that. We serve Jasper, Newton, McDonald, and Barton counties.
Okay.
We're also one of 20 community partnerships, which is a state-based organization, and so we work directly with state government departments and try to fulfill the missions that they're doing. So some of those things are, we have an EduCare program, and so we go into non-licensed preschools and that are being subsidized by the state, and we just give them resources, put eyes on the situation, and try to work with those teachers to help educate the kiddos that they're working with and make sure they're being kept safe. Another thing we do as far as child safety is we do a home visitation with different families that are referred to us by Department of Family Services. And so we go in and we work with parents. A lot of them are young parents that have not parented a little one before.
Sure.
And make sure that we're giving them resources. And,
good, because I think of all the groups that need some of those things, it's like, oh my gosh, I've never done this before. I've never figured out how to teach this to somebody else. Yeah.
Yeah. And so we get to build a relationship with them and do parenting classes with them and create socializations so they're meeting other couples that are in the same boat, so they can count on each other for that.
So in terms of those teachings now, excuse me, now do you I know you try to get out there in the community, and people can also get in contact with you. If they hear something this morning and they go, I need to do that with my kids, or whatever. I know we had some contact information for you, both on the Facebook, the Alliance of Southwest Missouri, SWMO.
Correct.
Okay, so the Alliance of SWMO, all one word. And if your phone number here, 782-9899.
Correct.
And that's anybody living in these 4 counties. So you said Jasper, Newton, Barton, and McDonald. Okay, so great. So right here in this corner, if you will.
Yeah.
So if anybody hears anything that they got more questions about, they can get in contact with Jen and with the Alliance. So tell us about some of your programs then that you're excited about.
Our Safe Kids program, I think, is probably what we're most known for, because we're out in schools doing assemblies and doing reward programs if they do well with their grades. And so within that, we have a driving simulator. And so you can sit down with 3 screens and we can set the standard of their driving, whether it's raining or not. We have cell phones, so we want to work on distracted driving. So we'll text them and have them text us back so they can see what that does to their reaction time while driving. We can even increase intoxication levels on there so they could see what it was like to experience that.
Now, do you do that? I'm guessing you do those for like the high schools.
We do those for middle school and high school.
We
really want to hit them when they're at 14 or 15, where they're really excited about it and really.
I imagine, I'm going to say this in all seriousness, probably a lot of adults could use the same simulator, but probably you're not going to get the opportunity quite so much.
Sure,
But
absolutely.
we want to make sure that the kids know what those dangers can do to their driving, because I think, let's face it, we all can get distracted while we're driving, but evidently it's even worse when you're 16.
Yes.
All the studies seem to show us that it's even worse when you're 16, but all of us should be concentrating on what we're doing.
Correct.
But yes, okay.
Also along those lines, we do a lot of drug prevention education. And so we have drunk goggles and marijuana goggles, so they could put those on and see how their vision is impaired and their reaction time is different. So they can work a puzzle while they have the goggles on, before they put the goggles on, and we'll time them. And then when they put them on, it takes a significant amount of time to finish the puzzle, of course.
So those are some of the things to raise awareness among our teenagers and those kinds of things, junior high and high school youth.
Correct.
Okay.
And then for younger kids, we do car seat safety. And so that's also for parents, but to keep those kiddos safe in case they're in an accident. And so people can come in and we'll check their car seats, one, to make sure that it hasn't expired and it's in good condition. And then we can also teach them on how to put it in their car safely, so to make sure their kids are safe. And so once a month we have car seat safety checks, and we advertise those and people can come. And then if somebody may not have a car seat, or it's expired or needs to be replaced, then for a $20 donation, then we will supply them with a car seat as well.
Wonderful. Okay.
Yeah.
So again, good things. So now, what do you now? So yeah, you've just told me what you're doing for the kids in the high school and the middle school. Tell me what you're doing for the little bitty ones.
The little bitty
ones. What are you
ones.
doing in between?
For the tween is what that's called.
Well, there you go.
We actually have a name for it. It's a lot of it's similar. We do drunk goggles with them as well, and try to hit that right off the bat. And you know, it may look a little different. We may not put them in the pedal carts, or but they'll have to walk the line, or they'll have to you know, with the goggles on to see if they would pass or fail a sobriety test. And so those kids really are interested in it. They're really interested in learning. We just are participating with the safety tour that, sorry, that I can't, that's in the past.
Okay,
so,
well, that's all right.
Sorry.
But that's all right. But you know, in terms of, you know, with you know, the different programs that you're running, so a lot of this is just to raise the kids' awareness and to make sure that that they're understanding. So like, I'm sure that there are people, grandmas and grandpas out there, and so why would you put beer goggles on my kid? You know, you know, and I think that everybody understands for the high school and maybe even the middle school, because I mean, whether we like it or not, you know, kids are doing a lot of experimenting, younger and younger and younger.
Right.
But somebody said, well, why would you do that for the other little ones? And again, so how would you respond to that with somebody asking a question like that?
I don't think it's ever too early to educate kids. I think with the culture and with the internet and with everything that they're exposed to in movies and everything, I think it's not too early to start that conversation.
Yeah.
We may not spend a whole lot of time there. but we follow up. We also do our fire safety with that age.
Good, good.
And so we have a smokehouse that they can go through, and so the house is full of smoke, and we teach them to get down on all fours,
Oh, so that they
clear
can,
to the,
oh yeah,
to
good.
the floor,
So they can make
and
sure they
then-
stay out of the contaminated area. Sure.
and help them make a plan to get out, and then they have to raise the window themselves and climb out the window and then go to their safety spot in meeting that. So,
Wonderful. Okay.
Yeah.
So in other words, it's not just theoretical, because I went through some of that training when I was a kid, which is a long time ago now.
Yeah.
But the deal is that I don't know that we ever had a thing where we simulated it and we actually had to try to figure it out. We were always told to stay close to the ground.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think it kind of like it would sink and make the messages a little bit, you know, stronger and a little bit easier to remember when you actually realize, oh my gosh, I can smell the smoke up here, but I can't smell it, you know, I can't feel it down here.
Right.
Interesting. Yeah.
I just got to go through the smokehouse, and it was an interesting experience. I was in with little kids, and so to listen to their conversation and their panic, and you know, and they know it's just pretend, but still the panic of
Sure, but I'm doing this.
yeah.
And if I stand up, I'm going to inhale all that smoke.
correct.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, it's interesting. I mean, you know, of course, at this point in my life, I do a lot more with, you know, education with, you know, college students. I usually go in and read and sing and play games with the little kids.
Yes.
But not, you know, but I don't try to teach them too much. So I take my hat off to all of you who are, you know, making sure you're doing those kinds of, you know, instructions, especially ones that can help save their lives, you know, if they're ever in an adverse situation like that. So,
Yeah.
again, so we've got fire safety, we've got alcohol education, we've got drug, you know, education. So what other kinds of things are we saving kids from or trying to teach them about? What else we got on our list here that you guys do?
Back to teenagers, we have we work with Department of Youth Services, and so kids that are in trouble or in residential treatment, teenagers as they come out, we have a mentoring program for them.
Oh, good.
And so we get to work with them and teach them more life skills and just check in on them, make sure they're doing okay.
Life skills such as?
Such as living on their own, starting to get them to that point and thinking about that. And so budgeting and grocery shopping and
Oh, good.
all
Yeah.
those things. Yep.
Yeah, so just regular life skills.
Correct. Yep.
Good.
Just day
All
in
right.
and day out. Yep.
Yeah, and I, you know, sometimes, you know, I always laugh at life skills because, you know, my mom did taught me a lot of life skills, but I got to tell you, they had some blind spots in their own education. My
yeah.
dad, I'll never forget the first time a car we had ran out of oil, and it was the one I drove all the time.
Oh.
And my dad got upset and furious. And he said, well, why didn't you tell me? He said, why didn't you put any oil in the car? And I'm like, well, you never told me where to put the oil in. You showed me where to put the gas in, but you never told me where to put the oil. And he was like, oh.
Right.
All right, you know, it was just kind of like it was something, the light bulb went on that just went,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, I didn't do that. And so I think all of our parents deserve a little bit of help, you know, making sure that they've covered all the bases,
Absolutely.
you know, with some of those things, because you just don't, you know, sometimes you don't stop and think about it, you
Right.
know? Or you're fine that, you know, you're fine having a safety plan at your own house, but what happens when you go to grandma's, you know, or those kinds of things, you know, how do we do some of those things? So I think that, you know, having this kind of a, you know, of a safety net with, you know, with all of them, and to be able to talk their way through that would be really kind of an important thing. So we're here talking with Jen Black, who's the director of the Alliance of Southwest Missouri. We are going to be right back after a short break, so please stick around and don't go away.
You're watching Faith in Our Hometown on KSN TV, brought to you as a community service and sponsored by Mercy Hospital, Joplin.
So we've been talking with Jen Black from the Alliance of Southwest Missouri, and trying to give parents a little bit of an assist here in terms of helping make sure their family's safe, make sure their kids have some extra knowledge about some of the things that unfortunately we've got experience with that can bite them a little bit along the way. Okay, so Jen, I know you've got an event coming up soon called the Downtown Dash. You want to tell us a little bit about the Downtown Dash if folks want to like to come around or support
Sure.
it or be involved?
Yes. On September 23rd, it'll be down on Main Street. Our office is located in the Griffin building downstairs, and so we'll start right outside of the building there. Main Street will be blocked off, and it'll be a run for kids, kindergarten through 5th grade. And so they can run a mile, or if they can't run that far, they can run just as far as they can and get back to the finish line. It'll just be a fun day for kiddos to participate in. It is our signature fundraiser, and so we raise money for our Safe Kids program. So it'll be fun for families to be out there, and there'll be a safety fair and all to go along with it.
Oh, good. So in other words, the booths and things like that where the kids can come and, you know, kind of again, learn a little bit even when they don't think we're trying to teach them something, which is good. Yeah. That works for them. So in terms of the race and those kinds of things, again, folks can call your office, 782-9899, or on Facebook, the Alliance of Southwest Missouri, SWMO, okay? And can get more information and do those kinds of things about the Downtown Dash. Now, how far are you going to have blocked off down there? Just
I think it'll be 4 or 5 blocks.
Okay.
Yep.
Great.
Yep. So, and we also can use lots of volunteers for that. So it just doesn't have to be families with little kiddos.
Well,
we can use lots of volunteers.
So if they want to volunteer, they can call those same numbers or get in touch with you.
Correct.
Which is great.
Yep.
So now you're an alliance of all kinds of other organizations. Who else kind of involved in this thing?
We partner with lots of organizations in town. That's one of my favorite things about the Alliance.
Okay.
And we have coalitions that we work with, and we have 4 coalitions. And so different nonprofits come to the table, religious organizations, business organizations, and just people, concerned citizens that want to participate. And so what's neat is each of those communities that has the Alliance finds a need within their community, and then those people come together to try to fix it. And so in Carthage, they decided gun safety is one of the things that they wanted to tackle.
Good.
And so they've been working hard at that and having events to try to educate families and kiddos about gun safety.
So in other words, like how to handle the gun, how to do those kinds of things, not to pick one up if you're a little kid, you know, those, I mean, sometimes I think we just forget about those things, you know, and so I think that's a great goal, especially with this many folks in our community have firearms and hunt and do those kinds of things.
Right.
I think gun safety is a great, would be a great aid to families, especially because again, you may not have any of those in your own home. What happens if your kid goes over to somebody else's house, and there are some, you know, again, just to be aware and not be, you know, not be so fascinated that you're going to do the exact thing that we wouldn't want them to do.
Absolutely. That's a,
you know,
that's our
do those kinds of things. Super.
So people at the table, at all the coalitions, the police department, the fire department, United Way, let's see, we have Children's Haven, we have Boys and Girls Club, we have well, I mean, the list just kind of goes on with the people that come to the table. We have media involved. We have all kinds. So we try to hit lots of sectors to make sure that we have all of our bases covered, and then we have a wide view of the community to make sure we are meeting the needs of the community. And we're just not getting stuck on maybe drug prevention, you know, and getting all focused on that when maybe, like I said, Carthage, really, they wanted to address a different issue.
Which is great.
Yeah.
Now, again, I'm, you know, as pastor of St. Anne's in Carthage, okay, how would you, I mean, are you involved in the churches as well, or trying to, you know, on that effort? Okay, good.
Absolutely.
Cool.
Yep. It's a very, very important component.
Well, you know, yeah, because I just, I mean, my family grew up, now I don't own any, because I never wanted to be a hunter, never wanted to be one of those things, but my dad and my brother both hunted, and, you know, my mom and my dad made sure that, you know, that I knew where they were, made sure that I knew, you know, if I was going to pick one up, you know, especially kind of older, you know, if I were dead, you know, well, bring me that, and I made sure I knew how to carry it. They made sure if we were, you know, out in the woods or whatever, they didn't take me out in the woods very much because it made too much noise, imagine that. But all those kinds of things about, okay, now if you're going to be around guns and you're going to be around people with guns, you have to watch these things, okay? And again, I just think, you know, again, what if I had kids, they wouldn't have any guns around probably, okay? Because I don't mess with them. Right. But you know, I'd want to make sure my kids were safe to do some of those things. So I think that's a cool, that's a cool goal for the whole community, to make sure that if people are going to be around them, that everybody knows how to make sure that they are you know, that they can steer clear, and especially with the little bitties. I mean, you know, because again, they're fascinated. They see them on TV. What do they want to do when they see one? Well, they want to pick it up. They want to do it, you know. So how do we, you know, how do we prevent some of that?
Yeah, try to minimize the curiosity.
Exactly, which is wonderful.
Yeah.
Any other things that coalitions have done? Because I think that one's fascinating. So, any other things that folks are in the like the 4-county area are focusing on?
Yeah. Well, let's see. In McDonald County, there's a great need in Knoll, and to work with all the ethnic people that are there, and so making sure that we create safety or make them feel safe, I guess, with the programs that we offer. And so we do a lot of home visiting there as well as the Alliance, and then the coalition. You know, they've had a lot of disasters this year, so they've really been focused on recovery from
floods
those
and all those things.
Tornadoes,
they've had it rough. And you know, and that's another interesting thing is, again, when folks come from other cultures and move to our area. I mean, you know, I just think that sometimes it's kind of like, okay, how do we help them to bridge that gap? You know, they were used to things a certain way in their own culture. And, you know, not used to them here, to help, you know, bridge some of those gaps in education for some of those communities. Because Knoll is, for those folks in our wider, you know, viewership area that don't know, Knoll has a large collection of Hispanics from a few different spots who speak Spanish. They've got a large Asian population. They've got right now a lot of Pacific Islanders that are suddenly down there again to work. And all of a sudden, it's become this, you know, very interesting little melting pot in the, you know, at the corner of the state. And then, how do we help them bridge those gaps as they're trying to make sure that as their children are safe living in this area? Yeah, which is important. Yeah.
Yep, it definitely is, and trying to make sure that they have the resources that they need. You know, coming into our culture, and not all cultures are the same, and things are not permitted in America that are there, and so making sure that we're helping them. Another piece down there is they have a pretty high rate of teen pregnancy, and so they're looking to address that with the coalition, and working with them and making sure they have resources they need and that those kiddos are safe as well.
Yeah. You know, it's interesting, I think, here in our community, you know, we know the schools are trying their best in those areas, you know, to try to make sure that they're addressing those things that they see are the, you know, are the hot button issues. Okay, so the schools are trying. Certainly, I think the churches are trying to address some of those things, you know, in terms of safety and families and those kinds of things. But I think it's really important, again, when some of our families, just at large, might fall through the cracks. There's a group like yours that's willing to try to step in there and say, okay, what's missing? Who's fallen through the cracks? How do we help them?
Right.
Which sounds it sounds like that's what your organization is for. Yeah.
Yep.
So what else are we doing in the region, in the broader region? Because that's the other two. What are we doing? What are we doing in Barton County?
Barton County, we do a lot of parenting classes up there, and Barton is our newest county, and so we're really trying to branch out and make sure we're offering the right services there. Barton is a community that doesn't have a lot of resources to offer, and so we're trying to connect all those dots to be sure we're there.
And again, that's the beauty of also a coalition in that area is that you don't just go in with the answers. You guys go in with the questions and say, okay, well, what do you know, if we're going to work together, what are the gaps? What do we need to provide? What might you be interested in doing? You know, and I think, again, they'll probably, you know, again, knowing that community. I used to be pastor of Lamar too.
Yeah.
I've been around. But, you know, when I was pastor up there, same thing. You know, we had a lot of hunting and fishing that went on. And so, you know, how do we address the safety needs in some of those things, you know, with some of those families in some of those areas and a bunch of other things as well.
Right.
Yeah. So Barton's your newest county. Let's see, which one did we do? So we did Jasper. We didn't. Oh, Newton.
Newton.
Okay. Well, so we kind of got that one a little bit.
Yes. They've had a drug-free communities grant, and so they really have focused a lot on drug prevention. And so the opioid issue that we're dealing with, and alcohol and marijuana, and they've been hitting that hard for quite some time.
Well, good. Yeah. You know, I tell you what, it's you know, sometimes, you know, I think we all hope that we can help our kids avoid some of the pitfalls that you know, that sometimes the grown-ups get into. And unfortunately, sometimes we can and sometimes we can't.
Right.
But if we can help those families to, you know, kind of help, you know, their kids steer away from some of those things, if we can help that happen, we're in good shape.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that we do offer at most all of the police stations in those counties, that we have a drug take-back box at each of those locations. And so for the elderly or just anybody that has expired prescription drugs or an excess that they, especially painkillers, if you didn't use them all, then you can take those and drop those off there at the police station and they'll be disposed of properly so that kids can't get their hands on it. And so,
you know, that is a wonderful, I didn't even know that existed myself, and I need to do the same thing. I've had like 4 pain pills from a tooth thing that I've been sitting there forever, and I was like, what do I do with these things? You know, because you don't want to flush them because that's not good for the water. That's not good, you know, so what do you do with it? That's great. I mean, it's even good to know that there's a, and so where would I take those here?
You would take them downtown to the police station.
Cool.
Yep. And
well, now there's a little public service thing going on there, which I didn't even have. That, you know, and again, I didn't even know that. See, I learn a few things even, you know, watching my own TV show. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I've been talking here with Jen Black, who is the Executive Director of the Alliance of Southwest Missouri. And we've just been talking about how to assist families, how to help them, you know, to raise strong families and help protect their kids. We're going to be right back after this Mercy Minute, so please stick around and don't go away.
Find out how a Mercy doctor can take care of you. At Mercy, your life is our life's work. Quality, safety, and an exceptional patient experience. Mercy is grateful to be recognized as one of the top 15 health systems in the United States. At Mercy, your life is our life's work.
Well, thanks for joining us again for another Sunday morning of Faith in Our Hometown. My guest this morning has been Jen Black of the Alliance of Southwest Missouri, and the Alliance is there to help families and families in our 4-county area, okay? And I'm sure there are other alliances and other areas that reach out of those 4 counties and into the rest of our viewing area. But the important thing is that sometimes we need to work together to assist our families at some of the things that might otherwise fall through the cracks. One of the things that I think we can all agree on is making sure that if our families are strong, then our community is strong. I will mention one more time that the Downtown Dash is being sponsored by the Alliance of Southwest Missouri. Downtown on September the 23rd. That morning, the race will be for kids from K through 5, and just an opportunity for you to come down and to see what the Alliance is all about. If you'd like to volunteer, if you'd like to be involved, please be in contact with them. As far as the rest of us, let's continue to look out for each other. Let's continue to be a community that cares about each other. Let's continue to make sure that any of our families that might need a little bit of assistance get it from any of us who can help. Thanks again. This is Faith in Our Hometown. Join us again next week.
Thanks for watching. Faith in Our Hometown can be seen Sunday mornings at 6:30 and 9 a.m. on KSN. Brought to you as a community service and sponsored by Mercy Hospital, Joplin.